It seems that there has been another problematic artist being exposed again. Hey, it's Iris, your professional yapper and intermediate artist. I'm trying to get this out as soon as I can due to how it's been spread around so much recently. Wasn't really planning on covering it, but plans can change. Who am I talking about that is quote unquote problematic? TTZEWO, or TT. I am not going to pronounce TTZEWO the entire video. TT is getting accused for the following: drawing lolly artwork of a child, defending someone who made predatory comments, being a bad server owner, and running away from allegations and not being responsible. Currently, no announcement or explanation has been made by TT, nor has she acknowledged anyone who has criticized her over the last 12 hours. As I'm aware, there are only 2 documents, one being an awareness or blacklist and the other being a call-out. I will only cover the first document, which has much more information than the call-out, and these documents are all available to read in the video description. Alright, so TT has came out with a document that basically debunks whatever has been said in the awareness document. I guess I'm a bit late to the update, but I'm going to split this video into 2 parts. One part that reads the awareness document, minimal editing, by the way. This entire these 2 parts will have minimal editing, and the other part being me reading what TT has said. So if you're not interested in what the document awareness document says, or you've already read it and it's all basically old news at this point to you, I recommend checking my next video, which will be me reading the claim document. Like, should be around maybe 30 minutes long. This video is basically 30 minutes long as well. So here is the document: TT server blacklist. And here are the reasons for blacklist. So here we are, plus server name, ID, owner name, and the ID for TT as well. Some updates over the last few days, and this is part 1, what led to this. So here TT said that her server would be undergoing a server break. This is an entire rant about everyone's behavior in the days prior, and you can read it if you want. I don't think it's that useful to read. So a lot of people were pretty mad about that because it's a rant. It didn't really explain about what TT was being accused of, etc. So a lot of people started to speak in the question channel and asking TT about why she was hiding the presence of a predator or defending a predator. So this is all the questions, and TT never really said anything about that, and whatever answer she gave is not really clear and it's more vague. This is mainly about the quote-unquote person that was defended, but I'm not really sure about this thing. So here is part 1.5, and this is like the first point or charge that I wrote just now. So basically there was this person that said all these inappropriate comments to all these people and made a lot of people uncomfortable, and others reported this person, but they ended up only getting a heavy warn. You can see that here. But this is not really TT's fault. It's more or less moderation issues from a mod. An ex-moderator, they said that the staff usually use their own judgment and have group discussions, but it's mainly the person handling the situation that decides the end result. I'm not sure if the staff that gave this verdict ever got demoted or kicked off the team for this judgment, but that's all I can say. It isn't really TT's fault because she does not handle server moderation in her own server, which a lot of people criticize, but nothing can be done about that. So this is the part here that was the shortened version and didn't include like a lot of ranting from the earlier large wall of text. TT said, "The server will go on break to give us time to review everything and what we need to work on and other suggestions to be implemented better. Yes, including the things most people bring up in server reviews, something like that. Also serves as a real break for staff to enjoy off time outside the server without stress factors. Estimated time it will be back, you can expect about a week-ish or more, and that wasn't really the case. The server reopened the market area, or like just fixed up the stuff in the market area on the 4th of October, and the server reopened on the 6th of October. So here in the red text, the document says, "We did not ask for a revamp of the server," which is very true. No one really asked for a revamp, but it could be TT's way of trying to work to be better or trying to address everything somehow, even though she didn't really do that. But no one really ever forgot about all this. A few people were still bringing it up occasionally, but everyone was trying to move on or hope that TT at least acknowledged what she did, because she did respond a bit to some of the things with a giant Q&A. I will probably put this on the screen if I can find it, I think. So one of the improvements is the feedback form. Basically, you cannot include critique anymore. It's more sugar-coated, as the document says. In the past, a lot of staff and other people were criticizing moderation or the server in general. So, yeah. Now it's just feedback rather than being allowed to really give critique. So part 2, what was her response to people confronting her about her artworks? So anonymous person said, "Hey TT, not sure if you remember me, but I'm an ex-staff of yours, blank. I'm DMing you to talk about something with you that has me a bit concerned. Is that alright with you? Please reach back when you can." And then TT replied a while later, "Yes, you can paste it here." And then the anonymous person said, "Some of my friends have looked at some of your art and realized it is quite strange," and brings attention to the Puka art. Puka is a 11 to 12-year-old fictional character. And this person is complaining about how Puka was drawn with a bigger chest and boob window. So here's some other stuff, like there is more older art that again looks like children being drawn in a suggestive way. These may be old drawings, but these are still concerning and add a lot of issue to the predators on your server. Having this type of art up and being bashed for pedos in your server is an extremely bad look. These are just extremely concerning and disturbing drawings. They're old, so I'm concerned about why you would draw stuff like this. It is honestly horrifying to look at, especially the ones where the body looks more childlike. This can already add on to the backlash of dangerous people in your server. So this Puka art, you can see it like here, like cut off a bit. It was drawn in like a few years ago, like about 3 years ago when TT was 17 to 18. A lot of people were complaining about this because even though she was 17 to 18, she still made the choice to draw something like this. TT responded saying, "For Puka, I do say that I did not have that in mind, since people don't really search for that, and I don't intend for it to look suggestive. I kept note of that. For my older sketches, I did a lot of anatomy, and you'll see me sharing more sketches of that back then. Up till now, my style has changed a lot. So the other person, the anonymous person, said, "Why for anatomy would you draw more childlike bodies? I get you can study anatomy, but you're using proportions that are similar to a child's body and drawing them in literal bikinis. This can be looked at in a completely different proportion, as it pretty much looks like blank. So why would you draw anatomy, but specifically draw children-like anatomy in the nature you were drawing them in?" So over here with TT's statement, I'm questioning the part that says, since people don't really search for that. That's interesting wording in a way, but I don't think, like, when you're creating art like that, you typically think of something like that in the creation process, but it's a weird choice to put a boot window for a 5th to 6th graders clothing to begin with. So TT responded saying, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. I wanted to draw female characters, and I'm sorry if you view it like that. I have already stated my intentions. Over time, I realized people don't always see it in the same way, and my style has changed, so I'm simply more aware and avoid that. Let me know if you have any other concerns." So the other person said, "I'm sorry, how do you not know what to say? How are you going to say you're sorry in I'm viewing it this way?" And it's not just them either. A lot of people were commenting about that on TikTok and Twitter. It's very clear what your intentions are. You couldn't go check and see if Puka was of age. You couldn't see that you're drawing little girls in bikinis and in shirts with no pants on except for panties? What the hell is wrong with you? Like, literally, I know what I'm seeing. I know I'm not the pervert here. Why are you confused on what to tell me? You drew an 11-year-old in a shirt with a boob window, and you claim that that is anatomy of little girls in bikinis and with a shirt with their panties showing. TT, I'm not dumb. I know that I'm not the pervert here and that you are the one having these dumb excuses. You knew what you were doing. You posted you're a grown woman. You draw shit like this and posted it. Ignored others who tried calling you out for being weird and supported sick-ass comments on those posts of your supposed anatomy. You have art like this while being bashed for not doing shit about predators in your server. This is insane. You're trying to brush it off and say it's me who's having these weird views when really I'm the one seeing your twisted intentions. You know what's right from wrong. Why can't you see that? So here are some Twitter screenshots, and TT was actively engaging with some of these people. I apologize if that offended you, but it's really not my intention at all. I don't know how else to say it. If it helps, I was a minor, and if anything, I'm more aware now. As I said earlier, she was 17 to 18 during this time. As I'm recording this, it is her 21st birthday, by the way. So, even if you're 17, I think you should know that drawing a character who is a literal child like that is kind of strange, right? So, this is the art in question. A lot of people were also complaining about how this doesn't even look like Puka, to be honest. You can see the little doodle right there. The girl is holding Puka. And you can see the boot window as well. These are some other examples of commissioned artwork, if I'm right. Yeah, 6K art commission. This one is very suspicious. And a lot of people were also complaining about this specific one. This one also includes suggestive choice of clothing. And here is another one with a bikini. These are some of her many odd artworks. For these artworks, her excuses are anatomy. You do not have to draw children suggestively to improve anatomy. These characters look very childlike, and it seems that she's been drawing female characters, a lot of youthful ones, suggestively for years. The first one is also canonically 12 years old at maximum, which is gross to give a canonically flat child character a boot window and chest growth. So these are anonymous comments from all those years ago. Emojis like, no, why does she look so young? That's alarming. Why does it look like a child? Why did they look so kid-like? And on the puka art, it's like, it's a really nice drawing, but this is not puka. You wouldn't be able to tell this is puka because the character design has been torn apart. She doesn't have bangs, her buns aren't spiky or messy, and she's a child. She'll be flatter than that and probably smaller. So, and there's even this person who said wood, which is wild. I'm not gonna say that first word, but this person said that this is my motivation to go improve my art, and then TT was encouraging them to draw, etc., etc. And this person even said, is this a self-portrait? Because if so, you would look hot, but which is wild, and basically shows that the way the art was conveyed or drawn is basically really misleading. So the document says, in some of these posts, she even likes and actively engages with these commenters. Yes, she is aware, but refuses to take action or release an official statement about it. Mind you, this is all 3 years ago. So it's really, really, there's nothing to really say about that. Part 3, how is she disregarding complaints from server members and refusing to make changes? So this is a very, very, very long server in review. This person, okay, this part actually is the same thing as the call out, which is why I'm not covering call out, because I would have to probably read everything. But basically this person was complaining about how volunteer work was nuked and you now require a budget for indie projects. Plus, when this person was proposing the idea of a volunteer channel, they weren't listened or heard. Being in the server in general is like, quote unquote, walking on a shitload of eggshells. They also brought up that how it was hypocritical that the server was against volunteer work, yet the entire mod team, the entire helper team, the staff team is made up of volunteers. So they were questioning about the issue and how the staff aren't even paid. To add on to this, TT isn't even involved in moderation and lets all her mods do it. She only appears from time to time in the chat. So it does feel very unfair. Let me skip through some of these. You can probably pause as you go on. So, alright, I'm gonna move on about this first because this is genuinely super long. You can really read this in the document or the call out document. So TT asks, I'm sorry, but I want to ask, why do you go to this server to hire people? Which is kind of interesting considering her server is an art server that includes a marketplace. TT says that this is not the server for it, and there are better servers out there who have that sort of thing, etc., etc. And she says that there are still a lot of hiring aspects in the server, which makes me question why she was asking, why they were asking for hiring stuff anyway. So she also added, I'm tired of people disrespecting my staffs and server, and as someone who read the review and the conversation a few hours after it happened, I really don't remember them really disrespecting the server or staff at all. I haven't read it recently since, or like only read it last week, so maybe I'm not seeing it right, but that's from my view. So TT for real actually said, my throat. So TT did say that she's not gonna let that go on. And as I said earlier, this is like a second recording by now. I don't really view that review as disrespect. So this is more complaints about the volunteer work, stuff like that. So TT also added, we didn't ban volunteers completely. We specifically mentioned that it was fine if the volunteer post an hire me ad. I don't know why that is such a huge problem. You can simply reach out to them. So she also added, okay, wait. Okay, this part is kind of confusing and kind of passive aggressive from my opinion. So this person, the person that TT is replying to, is not the same person as the one who was doing that review. So this person was the other person butt in, was like, I don't really want to butt in here, but the difference is that one is for personal use and blah 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 blah. TT said, this is not the place for it. We already mentioned this and suggested better spaces for you. Bringing staffs and blaming them for not listening is where I step in. It is ridiculous how persistent people are. We are just a Discord server and there are plenty out there. Lots of spaces for you to find what it is that you need. Then this person that just joined in was like, where did I say anything that you mentioned? Which is kind of like with a nervous emoji. So the other person, the person who did the review, gave this part saying that TT was not really listening and dodging points, etc., etc. This would kind of go in circles for a bit. That person TT replied to just said, I put in my 2 cents and left it at that, respectfully. It'd be appreciated if you could return the respect, as there was nothing hateful in my comment to you. So yeah, so this person called Viva, that was the person who was being attacked by TT for absolutely no reason. So okay, here are some points this anonymous person claimed. You continuously do the following. You dodge my points, twist my words, and make us seem like we're the bad guys when we just want change. You want to do what's right for the staff, but what are you? What about you? 200. I feel I'm dyslexic, but like, what about you? 229,000 members. What about them? Are you just gonna leave them in the dust? You just saying that sort of proves that you don't consider them at all whatsoever. Please don't go out trying to twist my words here when you know most of the people here, including former staff, are correct about what the staff are and do. What is my final message? Get better staff and be a more present owner. You cannot loom in the shadows while everyone else does everything for you. And that part I do agree. So TT then said, I can see that there is no point in reasoning with you. Please leave the server. I do not want you here. And this member actually still is in the server and was quite involved in like the questions channel, if I remember right. They were there. I have an eye out for them. So, okay, this is what the document says. This is a full-depth conversation an anonymous individual had with TT. This conversation was mainly about her removal of volunteer channels and how this damages indie projects. They banned these, but her moderators are completely volunteering. Not allowing others to continue their volunteer projects in her own server, but taking moderators that are also volunteering for free is hypocritical. She took this criticism and these suggestions as disrespectful towards staff. I already said earlier that I didn't view it as such. Then asking this individual to leave the server, saying, I do not want you here, despite them not breaking any rules. She has also shown disrespect towards someone who gave their 2 cents about the situation and with all due respect as shown above. So these are some other reviews. You can genuinely just read all this yourself. This is a review from an ex-staff, by the way, who has been working from May to June this year, 2025. These are also 2 different reviews. So there was another staff, my bad. I think I skipped over that part. So the first review is... Okay, no, this is the second review. The second review starts from here. The first review should be everything else above. So these are 2 different reviews by ex-staff, and the individuals claim that TT had ignored their suggestions and how she was at fault for many issues. She even made changes without their knowledge, heavily implying that the head moderators didn't have much of a say in many situations. There were many things some moderators didn't agree with that were implemented regardless. This mindset is extremely harmful, and doing this as a server owner can bring lots of stress to staff. TT claims that everything is always discussed with and heavily agreed upon staff, but experiences from ex-staff clearly show otherwise. This is terrible, especially for the younger staff who had to experience this back then. Okay, so experience 1. This is someone's personal experience with TT's moderators and harassment. So this person made a review and they ended up getting dragged into a ticket, as you can see. The moderator said that it was quote-unquote misleading and untrue, and there were no transcripts to back this up. So I'm gonna call them out by colors. Pink said, I don't know what to do because now I'm just scared that they already dragged me into a ticket. Blue was like, what? A ticket for what? And then Green said that they're so low for ganging up on a 14-year-old. And Blue was like, right, and they want to be like, oh, we ain't mad. Yeah. Pink said, because I said a situation was taking months to resolve and they wanted more info on it. But when I gave them the info, they just started defending themselves, saying they didn't have enough info, so they're just confused on my review. But bro, these people are saying worse things and being extremely disrespectful and rude, yet never got spoken to because they were blaming everything on the community instead of the moderators, and the mods found that satisfactory. They even liked the extremely disrespectful review, which was making direct attacks towards members and the community itself simply because they didn't say anything about moderation. This is crazy. Green was like, the mods literally have double standards. I won't doubt if someone said slurs in that review and defended them, and they still would have sided with them other than you. Orange said, that causes more harm than any of your reviews, dude. You're speaking up about what they need to fix while others are criticizing people. So in this ticket called Communicate, I think, Pink was like, if you disagreed with my review, you didn't have to drag me in a ticket, etc., etc., etc. Never reviewing a staff team low again. I low-key regret making a server review. So Blue was like, what the freak are we talking about? Then he forwarded this message, I'm assuming from a mod. Hi, thank you for the reviews. This is just a general reminder to remain respectful while responding to or giving your own reviews or opinions. If you cannot do this properly, it's best to not engage with the discussion. Thank you. And Blue was added, they weren't to us. Say that to the quote unquote mods. As if a mod didn't drag Pink into a ticket over a review. Literally, Pink said. So Pink was actually 13 years old, and the one that was talking with them, the mod, was an adult. The mod still liked and supported their extremely disrespectful review and comment. The 13-year-old in question started to panic because of this situation and regretted making a review because of the consequences they got for having moderation set at a 5 out of 10. So Red, being a mod, said, thank you. We are trying to go about this carefully and understand all sides so we can potentially make changes to our system. The situation is being handled with another mod, Pink said. Staff named blah blah blah. They are an amazing staff member, and it's a situation regarding the user Traco. Blah blah. There's a whip, blacklist, etc., etc. So Red asked for any additional information. Pink also added more about this entire thing. And this other mod has then said, hi, I've banned the reported user and posted the blacklist in #blacklist. So, they were like, I hope this result is satisfactory, and added, however, there are some things I wish to clear up. So they said that they understood if the warrant by itself was unsatisfactory. However, with the information that they were given at the time, a warrant was all they could do for this behavior, which is kind of wild considering like the amount of claims that were stacked against that person. So we banned them at this time around because this document included new information that we were not aware of beforehand. This information including the section where this user attempted to trade or sell adopts that they received for free without the designer's consent. In the previous reports, we were not told about this, hence we believe the situation was handled as we had done what we needed to do with the information provided at the time. Then they finally brought attention back to that server review, saying that we did not believe it was true to the situation to describe this as unresolved for months, as we did not have the needed information for further punishment. Describing it in this way in #server review can be very misleading and convince others that we knew about this situation beforehand but refused to take action. So in the end, they closed everything with saying you may close the tickets if you have no other concerns or questions, and the usual stuff. So I'm gonna read this end part. The moderator claimed that there wasn't enough evidence to give more of a punishment to the individual than a warrant, despite the individual saying stereotypical things about Asians, having a blacklist on them, causing multiple arguments throughout the server, having multiple tickets open about them by at least 4 different people, guilt-tripping and manipulating users in the server, promoting their own forum and other forums without previously asking, and likely a bit more. All of this was shown in the blacklist provided, and despite all this, they claimed they weren't able to do anything except a warning. They also never did anything about the user who argued with a 13-year-old publicly in channels and instead supported and reacted positively about it. Now here is another person with the red color. So this is like more complaints about the staff, etc., etc. This is how an ex-staff responded to my review and other reviews where moderation wasn't listed over a 5. Them being blatant disrespectful and calling us dramatic and implying that it was our fault, that mods are power tripping because we don't report it. The disrespectful review in question, this was said with entirely passive aggression and complete disrespect, directly attacking others and bringing up points said by others before them. They advocated for the fact that children or minors should be moderators, and that a 20-year-old being a moderator is creepy. Obviously, none of their points make sense now since TT herself increased the minimum age for helpers to 16 now. Meaning many people found it uncomfortable for children to moderate, which is justified because some children can be quite immature, but I will say that sometimes it's the child moderators 15 to 16 that are the ones more active and more the ones that are moderating the chat better. This is the review which most moderators give likes to, ignoring how disrespectful it was because it was defending them, which was completely unprofessional and is definitely part of the problem. So this shows how the reputation of the moderators and TT is prioritized more over children, and how they allow harassment as long as it gives them a good viewpoint. So they also allowed a Google Forms for you to comment or give your feedback about this entire document and to add anything. So from this moment in time, the document is still planning on adding evidence on staff mistreatment soon, because a problem that a lot of ex-staff reported was that they were extremely stressed about their time working for TT and the server. So this is me done reading the entire document or like summarizing it and skimming through. So hopefully everything is like revealed. So that is everything. I've read basically everything, summarized a little bit or skipped through like some parts that were generally the same. Those are my two takes mixed in one. Probably wasn't very entertaining to listen to. Maybe you had it on in the background, but that's not important. Besides the document, there are also other minor cases. I am going to show these right now with screenshots, people being anonymous, and I will refer to these individuals with purple or like blue or yellow or whatever colors I block their names and profile pictures out with. Yellow says, "Do you know how TT's promoting system goes like? She only gives high rolls, promotes people that she finds more friendly, and is more of a best friend to her. Like, be so for real, I can't even make this up. She claimed it herself." No joke, this is a genuine helper in TT server, and they also said that 21 staff left in like 24 hours. And that's why there's barely any moderation in the server currently. Um, and like even though the staff are online, they aren't doing anything because they don't want to support TT at all because she's done bad things. Now this one is the next big thing, which is alleged whitewashing. So this is the same person who made that review about volunteer work. Purple said that, okay, need to ask the chat if this is technically whitewashing, pulling up commission artwork. Yes, this is genuinely commission artwork. And as you can tell, the skin color values are legit not the same. I don't think you can excuse this as lighting or anything because the skin tone is genuinely lighter than the hair when in the original reference pictures they're either the same value or darker. That matter was only brought up a bit recently, like only about today, a few hours ago, so it's not in the document and it hadn't been caught until like this moment. What's kind of crazier is that TT has drawn more tan or brown characters before and didn't really whitewash them, but for some reason kind of did with this artwork specifically. Okay, so this is the last thing I'm going to talk about before I end the video. So this is an ex-helper saying that TT has a long history of not allowing people to speak up about important subjects because she cares a lot about reputation. And a lot of people were also claiming that she cares about her reputation a lot. Only now, because of the overflow of information and bringing it up the surface, it would be seen as cruel to mute people who are constantly talking about the information. In short, TT cares a lot about reputation, her server reputation, I suppose, and her own reputation. Though, if I remember right, she claims to not actually care at all. Alright, so that is generally it for this video, this part 1. I think we can tell why I'm not joining the two parts together because it's already about to get to 40 minutes in a few, and I've said what I wanted to say for this part, and whatever that needs to be revealed or shown will come out in the second part where I'm gonna read the entire debunking all the claims document. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, no matter how serious it was or how boring it might have been seeing text go by or on whatnot, and there are no captions, so maybe it isn't as enticing as my first video with the pretending to be AI artist. Okay, anyway, see you all next time. Bye bye. So we know it isn't really my video if I don't beg for a challenge by Battle Cats, right? But I mean it's a serious video this time, so I'm leaving it at the end rather than somewhere in the video than where I would usually beg or like put like some sort of ad for them to notice. So for the sake of a trend, I guess, and pattern, Battlecast give me a challenge. I will fulfill it as best as I can. I'm not gonna ping them this time in my description because don't let them know I'm being a drama YouTuber. I'm an art YouTuber, so I'll ping them in any art related videos, and there is gonna be one coming up. It's just that I'm prioritizing this one due to urgency, and it's less things to edit, so that's why this one's out early. So genuinely, this is the end of the video. Have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Bye bye.